Okay, I think this is the easiest way to do a VOD review of your Lucio VOD.
Nipple. Let's go triple DPS.
Lights.
No, sorry.
Can you just stop talking, dude? Your voice is pissing me off.
Dude, come on, what the fuck?
Why you gotta say that, man? You gotta say that in the chat.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip ahead until the game actually starts.
Alright, let's go right.
Trim off the start wall's good. Your route could be a little more
How about you
optimized,
just
but
be
it
quiet?
doesn't really matter on this first one.
I'll tell you to talk.
Basically everything that could have gone wrong went wrong that fight.
Do a head scan.
Nobody actually went right, which was kind of bad. You probably didn't need to speed out of spawn there. You could have saved your amp for a fight. And then, I mean, if you didn't amp speed, you could have amp speed right now and potentially pushed off of the pick that you got. Speed's fine there. You're here. You're kind of playing on point
Oh, rest in
with
peace.
no one else.
Oh no, okay. You know, rest in peace. Fire.
Which is okay because your team's doing
Alright,
work
so-
and no one's really like threatening it or punishing you for being completely by yourself. But playing by yourself on point there will get you killed
It's
a lot
all
of
just
times.
curious.
You should probably try to play more with your team. You aren't really offering any value. Some people like it when Lucio's playing point there because you have so much potential for boops, but I'd rather see you play with your team most of the time until you're a higher level and can make that kind of decision based on the game that's being played instead of just playing on point for no reason. The speed seems kind of useless. You're playing on point's fine because you're stalling.
Oh, you're killing everyone. Oh, dude.
You had an amp
Oh,
tool
that
or
McCree's
speed
the only one
available
left.
there that you probably could have used to potentially turn that fight and not die.
Nice.
Be careful about doing stuff like that too often because you're gonna not be able to take those fights later on. This, I don't know about that. That beat was pretty bad.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
Can you stop trash talking?
really not a lot of value that you got from it. There was like 2 people on their team on the point, and there was 6 of you. You guys should have at least been able to take that without it. You could have just damn speed and contested point.
AFK for like 3 seconds. I didn't mute you.
You should probably try to be aware of, or at least think about what ults they might have this fight that you need to be thinking about, so that you can use your amps and
He was
or
being
beats
too nice.
as a result. That amp was pretty weak. This position's fine, I guess. I mean, once again, you're kind of losing a little bit of value because you're not with your team, and then you get killed because you're too far up.
Oh.
Let's reset.
You guys have the potential for stalling quite a bit longer there, but no one did, and now you guys are just staggering, which is pretty bad. Your Genji's just staggering the shit out of himself and trying to 1v6. It's pretty bad.
Why are we going in by ourselves? Come back.
It's a good call to keep your team on the same page and make sure that you guys aren't going in one at a time, because that was definitely an easy time to start trickling. Genji's just getting dick.
Oh.
You're only at okay. So I mean, like here, you're only at. Let's see. You guys are only at 85%. You could have definitely chilled out. I mean, you could have played back with your team instead of pushing straight to point. Like the fact that your diva just walks forward here and like lets the Pharah get away with that barrage is pretty bad.
D.Va's almost on a mech.
You guys had a lot of time there that you could have used instead of going straight to point. You get pretty lucky here that they come back for no real reason.
Get on the point, get on the point.
Instead of finishing up. Genji finally manages to get up late off after getting himself killed like 3 times with it. I like it.
Oh.
Nice job.
I didn't even realize it didn't cap.
Good work. Yep.
Fuck. Pharah's low.
I don't know if you necessarily needed to go speed Hanzo back there. It was probably more important for you to get back to heal and support your Ana.
Thank you. Mercury's to the right. Right side.
So the thing I also noticed is that you can like shoot a lot more than you're shooting. Like, I don't know, I feel like you're not really taking advantage of using your left click all the time. This beat's fine. You guys should be able
I'm
to
not done.
deal with it. I feel like you can just honestly, like, I don't know why you're not just like holding left click and getting as much,
Pharah's
as many shots off as you
not gonna
can.
come on point, I guess.
Your goal should, for a 99 to 99 fight, or 99 to 99 King of the Hill, probably to be getting at least 3 beats. And we'll skip ahead again.
Okay, they're going in main.
We have the high ground. Just hold it for a little bit. You can jump on their healers.
They're going in left.
Well, Winston has no bubble, and you guys can probably pretty hard engage here. But you guys just sort of let them play point for no reason. Their Genji does a good job of getting in the back line and doing something, but you guys didn't take enough advantage of the fact that they
Reaper
were
one,
down
Reaper
Mercy.
one.
I don't know why
Reaper
you're
low?
on speed here. You should definitely be on heals.
She's getting healed by their Ana.
I think you spend a lot of time on speed in like team fights that you shouldn't. Yeah, you're on speed again here.
You can get the Ana.
Ana alone.
So you should have been healing that whole time and then maybe swapping to speed here to catch up with the Ana, but
I'm sorry, Hanzo, I was coming to you.
Baby D.Va.
shooting your Ana's back
Agree
is
up top?
good. The taxing is good. Genji's so overextended.
Jeez.
See,
Get that Winston, he dived in. Mercy's with him, Mercy's with him.
Yeah, I'm going for Mercy.
I don't know. You feel like it feels like you're kind of lost right here. Like you should have been back with your back line helping out with the Winston. I don't know. Maybe if you just fell off high ground.
Mercy, Mercy, Mercy.
I think your wall riding can definitely use work because
You know res anymore?
it's pretty easy to just wall ride back
He
up
was on
there
point?
and help your back line, but you kind of fell off and then weren't helping them with the Winston that was diving. That would have
Chaser.
been really easy for you to help with.
Their Ana's low.
You lost point.
Their D.Va's still on point.
Took too long
Heal
to get back to
me.
heals. That beat was.
Baby D.Va.
I don't know. I can understand the sentiment behind it, but I think that you need to think about like
Let's pull out.
holding the trigger a little bit on your beat because it feels like you're a little trigger happy.
Genji.
You guys already lost
Oh,
the
Shire
point,
got mech'd, dude.
and then the
Nice
beat
job.
was basically useless, especially against when you're running like Lucio Ana against a Genji. You want to try to save that beat for their blade. Otherwise, their blade's just gonna wipe you every fight.
Mercy, Mercy, Mercy.
Let's go, soldier.
Speed's okay, right? Like I don't know why you pushed up on the diva so hard. You should have make sure you're playing with your team instead of with like.
Nice job.
Remember that your first priority is to
Winston on point.
heal and support your team with your boop and all of that.
Great job, guys.
And then second priority is to like
Yeah, really
push
good
on the
retake right here.
characters. Like you're not a fragger. And like you know, later on,
Oh,
like
rip.
sure, if you've built up the mechanical skill, you can take 1v1s and you'll be able to fairly consistently like
D.Va
at
bottom,
least
right.
do okay or not necessarily die in
Do you
them.
still there?
But right now, I
sorry,
think
sorry.
that your like mechanics are not
Want me to set up
at the
any
point where you can freely take those 1v1s.
Just do your thing.
So
Winston
you
up
need
top.
to focus more on
I'm going
supporting
for
your
the
team
D.Va on the
instead.
point.
It's a much easier way for you to be impactful.
Their D.Va's so close out of mech. She's so close.
Yeah, like taking this 1v1 with D.Va is, I mean, I guess it's okay. She's low. Your teammate calls her low.
Thank you.
And D.Va's a pretty easy target for
When
you
you-
to deal damage to. So I don't know if I necessarily minded that.
I just realized we've had this for a while. I thought they took it back.
B here's fine. I mean, I think it probably could have been more optimal
Winston.
because, you know,
No,
Genji's
baby
gonna
D.Va?
come in with Blade, but trading B for a res there is probably fine to clean it up.
He just Z9'd.
Genji gets way too much
Or not.
value here. I don't know, like, you should just have hard-kited the Genji. So, as you, like, if you know that the Genji
Oh, he
is
was
going
out
to
of
be
the
coming
point
back
for
in
quite a
soon,
while.
the B was fine, but if you save
Oh,
your
that
amp
mercy. He
speed,
was
you
bad.
can offer a lot of value to your team through being able to just kite the Genji away and booping him and speeding out.
I was gonna type GR, but that just feel like BMing. I don't want to do that.
And skip ahead again.
They have a Reinhardt.
Yep. Be careful about the D.Va.
Damn, seal's good.
Their D.Va's really low. D.Va's out of mech.
There's Zenyatta's really low. Nice.
Genji 1.
Good
Get the
kill on
mercy,
Genji.
mercy's down. Holy shit.
Nice.
Thank you, Lucio.
Yep. No, why'd you grab it?
Oh,
The
sorry.
ult charge.
I wanted to make sure that if they would come to us, then that would be full help.
Yeah, Hanzo and Genji are doing pretty well.
No, it's all good. I'll probably have my ult the next fight.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, if you see you're someone like this much out of position, you can. I like you trying to play
Come
up
back.
here and give them help, but
Ah, jeez, darn. Oh,
Winston low.
Careful about the Winston.
Yeah, I already woke him up by
Mercy
accident.
on the left.
probably try to make sure you're always aware of where your Ana is, so that if she needs to have someone help, that you can. Like right here, you're a little late to help.
don't.
My ult's almost ready. Nice. My ult's ready.
I'm not really sure why you're over here, like trying to fight this Genji, Ana, and Winston. Your Genji's over there, but I don't think I would be playing up with your Genji unless
You gotta come
you're-
to me if you want healing, Hanzo.
I didn't know where
unless your Genji
No, the Hanzo was
is
asking for healing too.
needing your help. I mean, like,
Watch out, Hanjo's checking shots in the middle.
I wouldn't have been there in the first place,
Oh,
but
yeah,
after
he's
seeing
using
Genji
that.
in there, then maybe you could have followed up and gave him some assistance, but
Oh,
otherwise
soldier.
it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to try to be like 1v1ing the Genji and you're in a really bad spot.
Thank you.
It's pretty lucky that your Genji got a couple of kills and made it worthwhile.
Thank you, Lucio.
Beat's good.
God damn.
I have 3 health. Oh, thank God.
Hanzo no scatter.
I'm down. That Winston almost has his ult, by the way.
What is all?
He just used it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let them kill me.
Okay, let's group up.
I mean, I don't think you need
Nope.
to die.
We want to go in, I guess.
You very
Oh,
rarely
okay.
are ever
Damn,
going to need to
nice.
just die. As Lucio,
No,
you'll
watch this
usually
play of
at
the
least
game
be
right
able
here.
to try to run away and get away with it.
with 1 kill.
Oh, I am tilted. This guy that got banned before gets it, and I don't.
Wait, is that how you tell if they're banned? They have to like,
Yeah. They had like an offensive name or something like that.
I thought it was just some weird trend that people were doing.
Alright. So
They had,
I
like,
guess major takeaway points are gonna be your ult management. I think I saw maybe 2 good beats the whole game, and the rest of them are mediocre to bad. Make sure that you're getting as good of beats as you possibly can, and don't be so trigger happy with your beat. And focus on supporting your team. Your team, like, there's a couple of times where I think that you could have been better positioned to support your team, and instead you were kind of off, like, doing your own thing, which is occasionally the right play, but for right now, I think I want you to just focus on being a support first, and then a finisher / offensive potential later on, once you've kind of mastered the focusing on support part. I want you to shoot more. There's a lot of times, like, you can literally just spam your gun at choke points or spam wherever, and, like, you don't have ammo, like, your aim stat doesn't matter. Any damage that you get is more ult charge, and you want to be hitting as much as possible so that you can charge more beats. And I also want you to be on heal more. There were several team fights. I don't know if you didn't realize it or not, but when you're in team fights, you should pretty much always be on heal, no matter what, until you are either... So, like, I'm going to give you, like, a couple of acceptable times to speed. So speed is good when you're leaving spawn, when you're taxing players, when you're chasing kills, or when you're disengaging. But any time that you have already engaged a team fight, unless you are using speed to reposition yourself to go help somebody else, you should pretty much always be on heal. Like, especially in the meta that we've been in for a while, where dive is the prevalent way of playing the game, Lucio is oftentimes the highest healing player, or the highest healing support on the team, unless your Zen's hitting some really nutty trances. Let's see, what else? You can definitely practice wall riding as well. That's something that you can work on outside of actual games. This is like, you can just go sit in a custom game or whatever and just sit down and practice wall riding. Because there's a couple of times that, like, it feels like you're just not as comfortable wall riding as you probably should be. You can abuse walls so much right now in Lucio for the 20% speed boost that you get jumping off. And there's like a ton of other stuff that you can work on that are like little micro things, but I would just start working on wall riding in general, and like get a like really good feel for it. And that way, when you're in an actual game, you're capable of bouncing off of walls more, and then incorporating the wall riding in before you even work on more of the like even harder micro kind of things you can do on Lucio. There's a lot of mechanical depth to Lucio, and for you at the level that you're at right now, the mechanical skill is probably the least important. So wall riding is probably, you know, not the most important thing to work on right now. So right now I would focus mostly on first and foremost ult management. That's probably the most important thing. Like, that's the most important thing that you can do on Lucio to consistently win fights, and be a playmaker as a support is making sure that your beats are as good as they can be all the time. So the thing in black is what I would say is the most important. Ult management is the most important where you are right now, and making sure that your ults are the best they can be. So, and then after that, I would say the things in pink are like the second most important things. They're like things that are core to just playing Lucio at a decent level. You want to make sure that your main goals are supporting and healing, and then making sure that you're playing as well as you can to get as many beats as possible. This kind of ties into this. You want to do, because all of these ultimately tie into getting more sound barriers, right? And you want to get as many sound barriers in a game as you can, because that's ultimately how you're going to change the tide of a battle. And then finally is just work on micro stuff. Wall riding, aim is something that you can work on too, which ties into this, of course, which ties into that. And then if you ever want to work on even more micro things, say that you're like bored or whatever, you can work on things like bunny hopping, or you can work on, what else? You can work on rollouts. There's a subreddit on Reddit all about Lucio rollouts. What other little micro things could you work on if you really wanted to? I think that's mostly it that I can think of for now, of like little micro. These are like really low priority. These are like, don't really worry about this right now. This is just for later to keep in the back of your head. But I mean, that wasn't bad. I don't think you definitely had a lot of things you can work on. Like, Lucio's an interesting character because it's kind of tough to climb ranked on Lucio, just because ultimately a lot of it's based on playing Lucio as perfectly as you can, and you don't really frag when you play Lucio as perfectly as you can. So, one more thing actually before I stop this. The one other thing that you can work on is shot calling. Telling your team what to do and making sure they're all going into the right places is definitely a thing that you can do to increase your win percentage and play support better. You have a lot of the abilities required to effectively engage or disengage a fight in speed and heal. So if you just talk to your team and make sure that they are all on the same page, even at like a very basic level of this is where we are going to go, this is who we might want to focus, and any like information about what ults your team has, starting for starters, we'll start with just focusing on what your team has. So focus on your team first. And you know, say you have a nano and a visor. If you're going into a fight, be like, okay guys, we have nano visor, just so that your team is aware of the of all of the options that that brings about. Or you have a nano blade, or you have a blade in general. Just making your team, so like say you have a blade, you can be like, alright, we're gonna blade this fight, I'm gonna speed our Genji so that he can get the most value out of his blade. And then later on, once you've kind of gotten that down, then you want to focus on what the enemy ults are. And just sort of managing the entire ult economy of both teams to better set up fights and be prepared for that. But I think it wasn't bad. I think that you can, there's a lot of areas of improvement, but you've got like a decent base for playing Lucio. Just try to make sure you take all these tips into account and I'm sure that there's a lot here that you can work on. I wouldn't try to work on everything at once. Try to work at one thing at a time. So when you're playing a game, just maybe this game I'm gonna focus on ult management, and that's what I'm gonna work on, and then keep working on that until you've kind of, you know, you think that you're fairly comfortable on that, and then maybe the next game after that you're like, all right, I'm gonna focus on supporting my teammates. And that way you don't have too much on your plate. I've kind of given you a lot of things you can work on, but I think that you want to work on 1 or 2 things at a time. This is a pretty easy one to just add into any game. Just shoot more. You can that doesn't really require too much brain power to add onto your plate. Healing more, you might need to think about a little bit, so that's something you could do one at a time. And then just every game try to focus on something, so that you're learning and trying to add something to your repertoire. I'm playing Lucio, but if you put some hours into it, I'm sure that you can definitely improve on Lucio. So I wish you the best of luck. Oh god, here we go.